Welcome to this week's edition of Falcon Focus. It is episode number 22 and our 10th episode here in the second semester. My name is Matt Menzel, and in our second segment, we'll talk women's soccer with their senior goalkeeper, Kaylee Starkel. But up first, we talk football with the 13th year Falcon football head coach, Greg Etter, as the team is underway in this unique 2021 spring season and getting ready for the Lutheran Bowl that's coming up at Tomasini Stadium on Saturday at 1 p.m. against the Wisconsin Lutheran College Warriors. And Coach, first of all, thanks for your time here on this Tuesday. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and it's great thinking that it's football season. It's kind of odd, too, that here we are in the spring. Are you ready for some football? Well, I guess the answer has to be yes, because as mentioned, the home date coming up on Saturday. But take us back to the last 12 months. What have the last 12 months been like for you, not knowing if there would be a season? Now there is a season. How you've gone about preparing for this unique setup?
Well, I think you summed it up by saying that it's been a unique 12 months. When the pandemic hit, last March, the message that I tried to get out to our staff and to our team was just pay attention to what you hear from me. And as the leader of the program, what I tried to do is just give us enough information that we needed to survive and to have a plan. Because if you recall, back then rumors are flying, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And if we listen to all the outside voices, I mean, it'd be like trying to herd cats, And so as a staff, we set a plan, and I got to tell you, I'm very proud of our administration. I'm very proud of our staff and our players, because all the adversity that they've gone through, they have stayed focused, and we set short-term goals to get through the pandemic and to improve as a football team. And the staff and the players handled it very, very well. Very proud of them.
What are the biggest challenges? Are there challenges to playing football now versus in the fall, or is it business as usual? Just a different time of the year.
I tell you what. Okay, so we're getting ready for our first opponent. All right, last Sunday, 2 Sundays ago, and at the end of the day, you get all this preparation and all the planning and all the excitement that goes into your first opponent. And I went home, and as I'm unwinding for the night, and on TV is the Ncaa tournament selection. I just had to stop and think. I'm going, this isn't normal, but it's just things, like that incident that makes it not normal. In our world, I hope I'm speaking for my staff and for our players. Right now, our routine feels like business as usual, and that's what it needs to feel like. We lost our first game, all right, and all the highs and lows of the season and of each individual game. So obviously losing, it puts you in a low, but then you scratch your head and you sit back and you go, at least the young man got to play football, So, yeah, I mean, is it a little strange? Yes, but I do believe that we are business as usual right now and in a routine.
Well, do you approach this season any differently, being that the format's different? You know your first 3 opponents. Thereafter, it's a quote-unquote playoff format, so you have 5 games guaranteed. But do you approach the season any different, being that the format is a little bit different?
No, our preparation here, our focus here has always been, one play, one day, one game at a time. And so whether we're playing, September 15th or whether we're playing now, whether we're playing a normal conference schedule or whether it's laid out with 3 games, we have a game on Saturday that we have to prepare for. So we can't worry about, games 4 and 5, where are we going to be in the seedings, where, how is all this going to fall? We have to control what we can control. And so the 5-game season, the guaranteed 3 games, and then seed you after that. No, that we're aware of it, but it doesn't change any of our approach.
How have the guys responded to the new winter/spring routine?
I think they've been outstanding. I think that we're blessed here with our new strength and conditioning coach, Aaron Siekman. I think that he's done a great job in the weight room, and so our quote off season, he did a good job of keeping the team together and keeping them on a routine, and so yeah, I think that everybody has done a fabulous job.
Now, prior to this past week with the season opener against the Lakeland Muskies, the last meaningful football that was played by the Falcons came during the 2019 fall. Team went 5-5, and I know you've turned the page on that season, but you had a long time to maybe reflect on that 2019 campaign. So I guess quickly, how would you go about summarizing what took place during that fall in preparation now for this season?
Well, as you know, and it seems like forever since we did play, and but we've had as much of a staff turnover as I've had here in we mentioned 13 years. Our former offensive coordinator, we changed offensive coordinators, and so I think that's the biggest challenge right now is as a head coach. Our new coaches, they're trying to learn my or our routine on a weekly, monthly basis. Everything from recruiting to day-to-day operations to how we practice during the week. And so they're trying to learn that system. Our players are trying to learn a new scheme. Our players, and everyone's trying to figure out everyone's personalities. So I think and that has nothing to do with the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest challenges that are taking place right now, and we're making headway. We're moving forward, so I think that's a positive.
Well, as a question I was going to ask you is, Curran White is the new offensive coordinator. What made him the perfect fit or the candidate for that position here at Concordia?
Well, number one, he was recommended to me by a former employee of mine, all right, who I trust and put a lot of stock into people I know. My first goal, the few times that I've ever had to hire someone, thank God we have our staff has stayed together, but we hire people first. We want good people, and obviously we hope that we can coach football. And what made Coach White, to me, the guy for the job is he's a former head coach at a higher level than Ncaa Division III. He's a longtime offensive coordinator at a higher level than Ncaa Division III. And in meeting with him, from a personality standpoint, from a how he lives his life, how he approaches things, it was everything that my former employee had told me. And so you can check all the boxes as a person, as his resume, what he's accomplished, and most importantly, the relationship that he will develop with his players. He's a players type of coach.
How about the offensive side of the football? When you look at the roster, the breakdown, you have an experienced quarterback back. You have some experience at the skill positions, the offensive line. How would you go about, I guess, describing the experience factor or maybe the inexperience factor on the offensive side of the football?
It's a growing process, okay? And so, we came out of the gate, against Lakeland, and that was a game that woulda, shoulda, coulda. We had our opportunities to win. And as a football team, we're going through those growing pains overall. But I think, number one, in order for any scheme, any coach to be successful, the players have to believe in what's happening. And I believe that our players have faith in what's happening. And now what we have to do is we've identified who we think should be on the field. All right. Now we got to figure out who's going to make that play when the lights are on? Who's going to make that block? And so, that's part of figuring out the personality of your unit and the personality of the individuals. And so I believe that we're making progress there, and I think you'll see a huge jump between this week and week number 2 this spring.
So would you dub the offense as experienced, or is it I know you kind of talked about a work in progress, but again, having some of those experienced players back in place overall, is that the feeling it's an experienced bunch, or is it still, growing?
It's a combination. All right, we're all growing because of the newness of the offense. You can't just go into a game right now and fall back on something that was in the playbook that you've ran 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That the guys know. We don't have that because of the newness of the staff. All right, we've got a month of preparation in here that the guys are learning at different position groups. You mentioned our quarterback. All right, he's experienced. We've got experience at other positions.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then at some positions we are young and we're learning. So it's still a combination, if I can use that
Sure.
that word. I think there's enough experience there for us to be successful. All right, but we have to bring some of the position groups along.
So I'd venture to guess if I said the same thing about the defensive side of the football, it'd be the same answer.
It would be the exact same answer. We've got some of our key pieces are back. Some of our key pieces are not on the field for various reasons. And then we've got some new faces, and that's typical. That's not any type of excuse. That is the game of football. You're very seldom you're going to have the whole offense coming back or the whole defense. And, the other thing about the uniqueness of this season, normally you have, in a normal 10-game schedule, you've got a few games that you can go out there. Not that, I don't want to say winning doesn't matter, but it's not life or death. And here, with the 5-game shortened schedule, you're in the fire game 1 against your rival.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to say a must-win, but a critical situation. So, it's not, you don't have those few extra games to grow that experience.
Yeah, you're lacking those tune-up non-conference games.
Exactly.
Let's talk about briefly that Cheese Bowl matchup this past Saturday, the loss against Lakeland, 19-10, and you touched on a little bit the woulda, coulda, shouldas, if you will. I guess your takeaways from that opener, because some positives that came from that game. You're +3 when you look 3 minutes in possession time, forced 4 turnovers, recorded 256 passing yards. So, a lot of positives for being the first opportunity to play in a meaningful game since back in the fall of 2019.
Absolutely. The first thing that I addressed as a head coach following the game to the staff and to the players, and this falls on me. I have to do a better job, but I don't think I had my team emotionally in the right spot. I think that what we saw, what we evaluated, our emotional level or our excitement level, if I can use that word, was so high, and we were doing uncharacteristic things from our sideline to on the field where, in the game of football, no matter what position you play, you got to be focused, and you have to focus on your responsibility. And when you lose sight of that focus, now you got 10 people against 11. And if 2 people or 3 people or 4 people lose focus, there's more chance of a breakdown. And being that it was the first game in 16 months, being that you're right into the fire, being there a lot of new faces, a lot of new staff, I didn't have our team in the right spot emotionally. And so, to me, that's the first thing that we have to fix going into week number 2. And that's our focus right now. Were there enough plays Did we have an opportunity to win that football game? Absolutely. We have to capitalize on those opportunities if we're going to have a chance to win the next one or any of the 5 games, and that's part of the learning process. But we have to capitalize when we have opportunities.
Well, let's touch on the Week 2 matchup, the Lutheran Bowl at Tomasini Stadium at 1 p.m. against the Wisconsin Lutheran College Warriors. Again, that is this Saturday, and that's a WLC team, a brand new head coach, Eric Tresky, a former Cedarburg High School Bulldog, a former Warrior, a former assistant at Lakeland University, and now he's taking over that Warriors program, coming off a victory in Week 1 against Rockford. And it seems like every time the Falcons and Warriors get together, it is a very tight ball game. The Falcons and Warriors, 8 of the last 10 decided by 7 points or less. I would venture to guess you're expecting for more of the same here in 2021.
Oh, absolutely. That's the message that I shared with the new staff. That's the message that we shared with the football team. It really doesn't matter. You can take these 2 teams, and one can be up here in the standings and one can be down here, and vice versa. But when we get together, history shows that it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be a physical game. It's a rivalry game. So, like I said, we have to control our emotions, number one. We got to focus on the job at hand. Our first goal every week is to win. Our second goal is to improve, and then we've got all the other goals. But those are the 2 things that as a head coach, I want to see. Eric has taken over a program that he's very familiar with. And I know that he'll do a good job at Wisconsin Lutheran. But we have some familiarity. We're not going in blind. We know what his offense is going to do for the most part, and so it's not like we're bringing a coach from somewhere out of the country. And so I think that helps in our preparation. Our performance we'll have to see on Saturday, but we have some familiarity with his style of offense.
So it's a brand new style in the sense that he's bringing what he did at Lakeland to Wisconsin Lutheran versus trying to carry over what Dr. Dennis Miller did prior to.
Yeah, no, Eric is a very talented coach. He's had success, as you mentioned, up at Lakeland. He was very successful as an offensive coordinator, and so he's good. He's running a lot of the same things that has brought him success, and the things that he knows and the things that he's good at. So we have some familiarity with that, and so it's not totally new. Not a totally new personality of the team and what we're going to see offensively and defensively.
See, the beauty of this unique 2021 season is the fact that for football lovers, okay, you get your little taste of 5 weeks of college football, then you get a few months away from the game, and all of a sudden, hopefully, everything back to normal in the fall, and it's back to a typical 10-game season. But I guess to summarize and to wrap up this whole interview, you mentioned, okay, each week, goal number 1 is to win that football game. But I guess when you look at these 5 weeks, have you set, again, a little bit different being that, there's no Ncaa playoffs that essentially you're playing for, but what are the goals? Maybe what goals do you have for this team, to utilize these 5 weeks, maybe to set down the foundation, lay down the foundation for maybe what could carry over into the fall?
Well, first of all, our goals don't change, whether it's a 5-game season or whether it's a 10-game season with national playoffs. We go into the season, the goal is to win the conference, okay? Whether that's a 5-game conference schedule or whether it's a 10-game, whether we play in the fall, whether we play in the spring, our guys work hard 12 months out of the year with the goal of being conference champs, okay? And so not one time have I talked to our players about this spring being a stepping stone into the fall. This is our season, and it's a 5-game season, and we're focused on the 2, winning and improving. Let's get better each week. Let's continue to improve as individuals and as units each week, all right? And let's see where we end after the 5 games. Once that's done, then we'll start looking into the next year. But the people, my own dad, he talks about, well, you're developing for next year. Well, yeah, there's natural development that's taking place for next year, but I got seniors that this is their last go round, and so and our approach has always been consistent that our focus is on the week coming up, but this 5-game series with the format that they have, our goals don't change. We're not making decisions right now. We're not, as a staff, thinking about, hey, let's do this for next fall. We're thinking right now about winning the next game and doing the best that we can, hopefully conference championship these 5 in the spring.
Real fast, I want to wrap it up by bringing up the fact that your son, Blake, is one of the managers of the football team. How special is that for you to get to share this whole experience with him?
Oh, it's thank you for bringing that up. I'm very proud of Blake. He's done a fantastic job in his life, and he has found an identity working with our football program and takes a lot of pride in it. And I think he does a good job with his role. And I think the players like his baked goods because usually he's very good at baking, and so when they hand out the jersey and stuff, he has cookies and stuff for them. But it's been very, 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 very special.
That's great stuff, Coach. Best of luck this upcoming week. Can't wait to see the football team in action at Thomas City Stadium. And again, thanks for your time this morning.
Thanks for having me.
We talk football, and now we're going to talk football. Women's soccer coming up next with Kaylee Starkel as we continue on this week's edition of Falcon Focus. And welcome back to this week's edition of Falcon Focus. We now switch gears from football to women's soccer and talking with senior goalkeeper Kaylee Starkel. And Kaylee, I always ask all of our student athletes, especially those that are not from Wisconsin, about their hometown. You're from Dana Point, California, and so I guess step one is, how did you end up at Concordia, Wisconsin?
Yeah, so I first heard about it through Alex Tomich, who was on the soccer team. And we were on the same club team for like 2 years prior to college. And they came out and watched her play in one of our tournaments that we were playing at. And she was like, hey, they're looking for a goalkeeper. You should really check them out. And they're really nice. And she was just telling me all these good things about the coaches and everything. So then I gave them a call and emailed them and then let me know that I was interested and I was looking for colleges to apply to. And they were so prominent about wanting me to come out and visit them, and they were like, oh, we love your highlights, we'd love to come see you play, and they were just so supportive through everything and very, very communicative, which was hard at that time because I was looking at a bunch of other colleges and I knew I wanted to go far away, I didn't want to go to college in California. And so they blew my expectations of what coaches were supposed to do if they actually wanted a player to come out. And so and then coming out here, it was just so beautiful, and I knew I wanted to have some sort of weather and seasons and stuff like that, and it's been awesome.
So where in California is Dana Point, and I guess maybe in your opinion, what is your hometown probably best known for?
Okay, yeah. It is 2 hours from Mexico. It's in between San Diego and LA County. It's in Orange County. And I live a mile and a half from the beach. It's best known, I think Dana Point is best known for its beach cities.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a super low-key, relaxed beach city that I'm from. And I think also I don't know if you know this, but the town next to me, Nixon used to he loved going there and living there.
No kidding.
Yeah, so it's a very beach city. That's what it's best known for.
If I remember correctly, Richard Nixon out of Whittier College. I guess for you, okay, you wanted to get away from California. What's been the biggest change for you going from California to Wisconsin? What's been the biggest adjustment you've had to make from one state to the next?
Yeah, I think just, well, obviously getting used to the cold and like getting used to just little different like switches I've had to make. Like if there is a snowstorm, like you have to um like check if things are open, or like or like you can leave your frozens in your car, like you don't have to rush to get them in the house.
Never thought about that.
Yeah, it was just like these tiny things that like I just never would have thought of. And then too, also, like I really loved the weather here. I really did, or I do still. And also, everything about it, and the lake too helps transition from, it's
Sure.
not the ocean, but like it looks like it.
Sure, absolutely. Now, your first season at Concordia playing soccer was in the fall of 2017, which I'm sure by now feels like a decade ago. But you look back and you got the opportunity to play in 3 matchups. You were playing behind at that point a 3-time All-Conference performer in Tabitha Ortiz. What did you maybe gain? What did you maybe learn from just, I guess, observing and watching Ortiz before getting your opportunity?
Yeah, Tabby was my like mentor. I loved watching her. She was so helpful with getting used to the college experience and like handling the pressure of being in goal. And like before college, I kind of always struggled with like that pressure of like not letting anyone down, and like like feeling like it's all on my shoulders, and if I let a goal down, it's all my fault,
Mm-hmm.
or if I let a goal in, it's all my fault. And she kind of helped me understand that pressure and not to put it so much on myself, but to like be open to like letting teammates help me out, and just I don't, not trying to take it as personal,
Sure.
even though obviously there are games where like you just can't do anything but take it personally. But she really helped me with that, and also like watching her train and like the motivation that she had to like get to every ball, and like, and Ishii too, like the way that he like pushed her for her senior year was like so awesome to watch, because she was able to make like these crazy saves. And I don't know, just she was a very big influence on the team that I really wanted to be, or like she was the kind of captain that like she would stay back, like she wouldn't do all the like big, like I feel like Josie was like our, like during that time was our like face of the team and everything, and Tabby was like the face on the field almost, like she took control of the game and like knew what was happening in the game. And also too, watching her read the game and how fast she was able to read the game also really helped me.
Now, in 2018, you got the opportunity. You split some time between the posts. How early in advance did you know that you'd be the starting goalkeeper, or if you'd be coming off the bench potentially? And did that change how you prepared for a match?
Definitely. So my sophomore year, as you said, like we split it, and I was ready to like get on like every point, but it was so different from my junior year when I would like start all
Mm-hmm.
the time. And I think when I did realize that I was going to be starting goalkeeper was during preseason, and like I knew how much that I had trained like over summer, and like how much effort and work and like every day that I put into like getting better with like the flaws that I had, and getting stronger with what I knew that I was good at. And so kind of focusing on that, I knew going into it that I was better. I obviously didn't know how like the other keeper was going to be. So I was like, okay, I just need to focus on myself and like control the things that I can control, and that'll help me like get ahead. And then during preseason, like that area, I was like getting back the flow again, and like because it's always like you can always train so much in
Mm-hmm.
the summer, but then once you get onto the field with the people that you're actually going to play with, you like have to figure out like you remember it again almost.
Well, how about from a match standpoint? I mean, did you know, 24 hours in advance? Do you know, was it a match day decision if you're going to play in that 2018 season, or again, was it one of those, last minute decisions? How did you go about finding out when you were going to start?
Yeah, so at the beginning of the season, he kind of did a rundown of that and was like, okay, you're going to do this game. Like, you're for sure doing this game, and this
Okay.
game. And then there were some games where, like, it depending how the score was going, then they'd be like, okay, step in. Or if, like, something had happened, like, the day before or whatever, like, they always gave me somewhat of a heads up, but like if it was mid-game, I'd have to be ready at all times.
Is that a different mindset? You're starting. So I mean, it's 0-0. You're out there. You're ready to go. Versus you may be coming into whether you guys are down 3-0 or up 3-0.
Yeah.
As you said, you got to be ready at a moment's notice and feel like you got to just gel with the rest of the team that's been out there already for the last how many minutes.
Yeah, honestly, I think it gives me a little bit more adrenaline when like you go in because in your head you're like, okay, we're either up 3 or down 3. Like whatever the situation is, you're like, okay, I can't let any more goals. Like I just can't. Or like we don't want to lose this shutout. So like just keep on your toes. And I think that bit of it gave me just a bit more adrenaline going in. So like I was able to be more on my toes.
Sure.
So I definitely have more confidence now knowing that I'm starting like the games and like gonna be going in. But I think I only have that confidence because I was able to jump into those games.
And of course, in 2019, as you mentioned, as a full-time starter, you were named a first-team All-Conference selection, and you were part of 8 shutouts, but you had 7 by yourself, 7 shutouts during that remarkable run. When you look back at that 2019 campaign, certainly a number of games stand out. The tournament championship win against Dominican at Dominican. How about the semifinal? Have you ever played in a game like that weather-wise where, I mean, they're literally cleaning off the field minutes before the opening kickoff thanks to a fluke snowstorm in the morning, but part of that semifinal against Illinois Tech and ended up being just a back-and-forth contest.
Yeah, that was the wildest thing ever. I had never played in snow before in my entire life. And I could not feel my toes or my hands. And like I don't really run around the field. Like I don't go past the 18-yard
Sure.
very often during a game. So like standing there and like having to like keep moving your hands and toes and moving around. But that was one of like I still get chills like thinking like that's one of the games that you just get chills thinking about because we had lost to them in the season. And I know the year prior when we first played them, when they first got into our conference, it was the same thing. It was back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. So every time we've played them, it has been they score, we score, they score, we score. Like it's always gone back to back. And so that game was so like monumental for us because it's something that we wanted for so long. And like every game, like we knew what to fix, but like it wouldn't get there. And then we were able to push through it. And like that weather, and when it started snowing too, and like the second half, got pretty photos from it though.
No kidding. How big of a luxury is it? Obviously, you don't want to let any goals go by. But knowing that you have an offense that last year was able to produce 94 goals in 22 games, they have the ability to score in bunches. That's got to be pretty nice to know in the back of your mind that, again, you don't want to give up a goal, but you guys have the ability to overcome a deficit.
Yeah, that's actually during the final when we were at Dominican playing Dominican scored first. And in my head, I was like, there's no doubt that we're going to get it back. I was like, I obviously was like upset about it and like I didn't want it to happen. But I was in my head, I wasn't even like stressed about it because I was like, we're getting it back. We're winning this. There's no doubt in my mind that these forwards and like this whole team can't build it up and get it again.
And again, the NCAA tournament experience as well for the Falcon women's soccer team for the first time since back in the 2004 campaign. I know you wanted to win that game. It didn't happen, but how valuable was that experience? Just, playing against that kind of a caliber of an opponent, preparing you now for hopefully to get back there and maybe take that next step.
Yeah, it was an experience that I won't ever forget, especially like just being there with the seniors and like the whole experience was just awesome and like getting to stay with everyone like one last time and like not knowing how far you'll go, but it like the whole thing just made us feel, I don't know, special almost. Like it felt like we deserved this and like we just wanted to keep playing. And it was awesome to be able to at least travel a little bit, but like to go to different teams that were like ranked way higher than us, but like we knew that we could play.
Well, and little did you know that would be the last time a meaningful soccer game would be played until, this past Sunday, thanks to COVID-19, got the opportunity to take on Marion in the season and home opener, a 6-0 win, 26-3. The shot differential and Selena Eston coming through with a 4-goal performance. It's part of a 9 regular season match season. First, your thoughts on the way you guys played on Sunday, and I guess just your thoughts on this unique 2021 spring season.
Right. Yeah, obviously everything is up in the air. Like there's so many things that can flip a switch right away. Like one day we could be playing all these games and then the next day something will happen. So we're trying to take everything that we have to heart, and we're trying to be super grateful about everything that we have. And like obviously this weather hasn't been the like best or like the most people like it's you don't want to practice in like
Sure.
40-degree weather. But coach always reminds us that like this isn't guaranteed, and this season like we're lucky to even have a season and to be able to play whether it's with each other or like having a conference. So that's the mindset that he's had us have, and that we're gonna go through every game with. And so on the field this weekend we were just so happy to be out there, and it felt really nice to get back in the groove after how many days of not playing a single game. And when at the beginning when we were scoring all those goals, I was like, I feel bad for their team. I was like, this is like it's like we kind of just unleashed what we wanted to do. And thankfully my defense did really well and didn't have as many or like and also the midfield, and everyone just worked together, I think, and like gave that extra effort to not have as many chances, or not to give them as many chances.
We got to get you to class, so let me wrap it up by just saying, the team is at MSOE Wednesday at 7 p.m., home Sunday against Lakeland at 1 p.m., and then the big one against Dominican on Wednesday the 31st at 1 p.m. Wrap it up with just quickly your goals that you have for yourself for this unique season.
Yeah, some of my goals that I have is to give my confidence to everyone on the field, to keep vocalizing like direction and being completely in charge, and kind of going back to like how I like viewed Tabby as like being that face on the field and like knowing what's happening and just getting that understanding again of reading the play and just being able to be in charge and like take control and take charge of what the season is and what we have. And yeah.
Well, best of luck this spring, Kaylee. Thanks a lot for your time. We were watching it again. You can see the Falcons in person again on Sunday. Lakeland, the opponent, at 1 p.m. Thanks to our guests, both Greg Etter and Kaylee Starkel. Thank you for watching. Thanks to Sam Dunn behind the scenes. And again, as long as it's safe to do so, we'll join you again next Tuesday for Falcon Focus on CWFalcons.com.